now what about other headsets, used headsets, and whatever? Well, I think I may have left off my previous recommendations, suggesting the original Vive as perhaps the best. I don't know if I went best, but maybe I went with the best option for VRchat on a budget. Well, if I did that, I'm backtracking from it now for a few reasons. The first one, having to buy a headset used is a gamble, no matter how you work around it. If somebody knows somebody that they trust, and if you can get a hold of a Vive at a good price, or if it's given to you or whatever, it's still a great headset for VRchat. And I'm saying that as someone that came back to the Vive, at least temporarily, who's already had an index. Having the index controllers, having my full body tracking, I can use the original Vive and VRchat. When I first came back to it, the foam around the face mat, the foam around the headset irritated me quite a bit for about 2 days. Now it's not bothering me. So otherwise, it's comfortable, but initially, the Deluxe Audio Strap is I'm using Deluxe Audio Strap too. So I'm not even considering the Vive without that. I don't think anybody should. You definitely want that as part of your package if you're buying it used. Okay, but with the Deluxe Audio Strap, it's comfortable. The audio is quality. It's kind of flimsier versus the headset on the original Rift and the head strap on the original Rift and the head strap on the Vive. So at first that was a little awkward, flimsy. That's not bothering me now either. It's been almost 2 weeks, I think, that I've been going to the Vive. The other thing was the screen door effect. A lot of people complained about the screen door effect on the original generation headsets. I mean, yeah, it was disappointing a little bit at first, but once I got used to it, it wasn't really that big of a deal to me. I basically accepted the VR experience for what it was. Having to adjust to the fact that text wasn't better, wasn't more clear, easier to read, was something that took some getting used to early on for me too, because I really hope to be able to use my desktops in VR and everything. And with the original generation headsets, that's not extremely practical. It's still useful for some elements, but don't think you're replacing your monitor with an original generation headset. But getting into VRchat, once you get into the game, if you come in and you're just trying to scrutinize it, maybe you can stay mindful of it. But honestly, I forget about it. First off, the screen door effect doesn't even really appear against darker environments. It's the lighter stuff that highlights it. But when you're talking to people and the background is just background and all of that, or if you're just looking around, if you're moving and looking around, everything's really rather good. It's still, so basically, I'm still impressed by, this is the Room of the Rain. It's another popular room in VRchat. I'm still impressed by the quality of the visuals and the textures in this room, even with the original headset. It's just amazing. The effects for the raindrops outside here are great. So here we are in the rain. You can listen to the rain in here. It's a really relaxing environment. Obviously, it looks like the shaders may get a little strange, but okay. So anyways, the original Vive is still a great consideration. And if you're extremely on a budget, it's ultimately, if you find one at a fair price, no more than $400, which is high, except for right now with the virus and the things that are sold out and hard to get. Right now, $400 may still be a reasonable price for a used Rift. Maybe. That's going to be your personal preference, but if you find one that you can trust somehow, some way, and you know it's a good working setup, then you have the option to upgrade to index controllers and to add trackers. Which one you want first would be your personal preference. The original Vive wands aren't that bad in VRchat after all, but they're not great. I would still prefer the intuitiveness of the original Rift controllers, or of the touch controllers, or obviously the finger tracking. Hey, here's a pillow. Gravity is turned off. All right. Or the finger tracking, of course, of the index controllers. So, but full body tracking can't be beat. If you're a dancer for sure, or from the get-go you're wanting to dance, then you may want to get trackers first and just live with the Vive. And that's probably would edge out in what I would recommend, but you do have the option of getting the index controllers and having finger tracking. So if you're not bothered by not having leg tracking, if you don't mind just kind of moving around and letting see, like I'm not moving my legs, but as I walk, you can do stuff to kind of to cheat it. You could dance with the play space mover like that, So anyways, you could, if you're adjusting and enjoying yourself without full body tracking, then you may want gestures for while you're talking, or just to, you don't need to emote. You can flip somebody off if you want to. You can tell them it's okay. There's some things you can't quite do because, it's tracking up and down movement. It won't know that you're making a legit peace sign, for example. But it's really remarkable. It was, after already having full body tracking and getting finger tracking, I was really pleasantly surprised at how much that was an enhancement to the game. So the Rift S, you can get Steam dongles and you can use the space calibrator and use Vive wands with the Rift S, but there's no reason for it at that point. It's so expensive to do that. I mean, if you already have the base stations because you're using full body tracking, you're a little closer to being reasonable, but it's still really not worth doing. So people will tell you it's possible. It is possible. It's just not really justifiable. The only game currently that I'm aware of that really makes the finger tracking excellent to have is VRchat. Now, you get finger tracking that you can use in Half-Life Alyx. I don't know, because the game has been made so it can be played on just about any headset, I don't know if there's any places where that is extraordinary. Certainly just grabbing stuff to grab it and stuff, that's got to be helpful. But the individual finger tracking, I don't know how great that is, but it certainly helps just to grip stuff, to actually have your actual grip be a grip instead of pulling a trigger. So that also gets a little bit more immersive. It's not worthless in other games, but it doesn't enhance other gameplay enough to justify even trying to do it, in my opinion, hybrid. So that's an advantage that goes to the original Vive as far as on a budget. If you want to go in the direction of index controllers and trackers, I can tell you that it's a complete VRchat experience. Even downgrading from the index headset, it is not VRchat that has me wanting my index back. It is racing simulators and other games I play in VR that make me eager for my index back. So for VRchat, your cheapest way to have full body tracking and finger tracking, which are great enhancements for this game, and still enjoy the game with decent audio, would be through having an original Vive with a deluxe audio strap, and then getting the index controllers and the trackers. And so altogether, let's say you pay $300 for the original Vive and the trackers, so altogether that would be $900. Well, probably $1,000 basically. So instead of a full index kit, you can piece together a full body tracking with index controllers kit. Along with that, I'm putting too much information in this video, but I have friends that bought the index controllers at launch that were already using Vives, and they have not upgraded their headset. They've talked about it, but it's just not been an essential thing. And now that I've gone this route and gone backwards, I can see where, for VRchat, we're like, they're okay. And Beat Saber's fine. So, and some of them play Boneworks and Half-Life Alyx, so they are playing some other games where the visuals might be more useful, and they're still enjoying their experience. So I can't blame them. They're not exactly wrong. The Index HMD is excellent, and it's definitely a significant upgrade. But whether it's a $500 upgrade to somebody that's already got a fairly complete experience, is a fair question. So with all of that said and done, it is possible to be, especially with VRchat, to be completely happy with the original Vive index controllers and leg tracking. So if you're really on a budget, that might be your option. And you're looking at, once you have the original Vive, whatever you pay for that, your additional steps to upgrade are roughly $300 each. So you can basically split your full VRchat experience into 3 separate situations. So if I left off with the Vive as being my recommendation for a budget, that's why. But what has changed that is really appreciating how much my index, with its higher resolution, has enhanced other games other than VRchat. And it enhances VRchat too, but it's a difference maker in other games.